One really good source for street photos. You just have to be brave enough to pull out your camera. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer. And I just arrived to Bangkok, Thailand a couple of days ago, and I thought in this video I'm going to share some of my thoughts on how I approach a new location, in this case Bangkok, Thailand. I've been here before, so the location is not completely new to me, but I can't say I know the city all that well. It's a big city, but I sort of knew what to expect because I've been here before. And while I'm talking, I'm gonna share some pictures that I shot on my first full day here in Bangkok. And of course I used my Ricoh GR3 and the 3X cameras for all these pictures. But first I want to say a couple of words about these two cameras, because I got a comment from someone who was super upset because of what I said about the Lumix GM1 camera in one of my recent videos. I'll put the link up here just in case you haven't seen it. And he said that was just another clever advertising video for Ricoh. But I do what almost every other camera photography related YouTuber does. I tend to talk about the cameras that I use, and I tend to use the cameras that I really like. And I think it's really sad that someone gets so upset because he disagrees with me on a camera. I mean, these are just cameras. They are plastic, metal and glass. They are not living creatures or something. And I think it would be really boring if we all liked the same cameras and we all used the same cameras and lenses and we all took similar photos. I think it's only interesting that we all have different opinions on cameras and lenses and food and traveling and everything. It makes life much more interesting. And if I don't like a camera or a lens, it does not mean that the camera is universally or the lens is universally bad. It is just my opinion, and I appreciate your opinion, and I'm only happy if you have found your perfect camera or lens, even though it would not be my perfect camera, the same camera. And now let's talk about Bangkok. And I was actually quite surprised how many pictures I shot on my first day here in Bangkok, because I usually don't take many pictures when I arrive to a new location. I usually like to look around and get somehow the feel of the place before I start really taking pictures. And one of the things that I worry when I come to a new location, in this case Bangkok, Thailand, is that I'm going to take all the same cliché pictures that everyone else takes when they arrive to that same location. When you arrive to a new location, everything looks different, everything looks new, and it can be difficult to distinguish what really is worth a photo. And my solution is not to shoot a lot during the first couple of days. But it's not something I intentionally do. It is something that comes naturally. I guess it's the way I function. And I don't think it's necessarily the best way to do it. I think sometimes it might be a good idea to start shooting right at the arrival and maybe capture your initial first impressions, because those you can capture only when you arrive. They are your first impressions. But usually after some days I start to see more, and I start to see more unique pictures, or more pictures that are sort of my style of pictures and not something that everyone else takes. My style is street and documentary, as always. That's what I always do. And I try to observe, I try to see something that is mine. I try not to shoot the obvious, but of course these days it's really hard, if not impossible, to be unique. But these days photography for me is fun. I'm not on an assignment, and I do this for fun. And it doesn't matter if I don't capture some award-winning photos, and I think it's important that I capture something that makes me happy. Bangkok is a big city, and it's a busy city, and almost everywhere you look at you can see something worth photographing. And I especially like the light compared to Kuala Lumpur, where I came from. Over there it's often overcast and cloudy, and it's very rare to see sun from the morning until the evening. But over here I can see much more sunlight, and I can get a lot better light and shadow details or shapes and colors compared to Kuala Lumpur. And there's also a lot of smog in the air, and ironically that makes everything look so much better. It's bad for environment, bad for health of course, but it seems to do good for photos or for the light. It somehow makes the light a little bit softer and a little bit warmer. But of course the weather is not always sunny, not even in Bangkok. And I guess the weather over here is a little bit seasonal too. Some months are more rainy than others. And for example, today it's a little bit overcast. And I actually hope it rains one of these days, because that can open up some other possibilities that I'd like to explore in some of my future videos. I just hope it doesn't rain every day. Towards the evening I found the traffic especially intriguing, because it is a little bit crazy and chaotic, and it seems that when the darkness arrives it makes the traffic look even more intense and even more crazy. Of course, towards the evening, towards the darkness, there are many other things also to photograph. There are plenty of big shopping malls with lots of light, and there are plenty of neon lights or other colored lights, huge billboards, and there's a lot of light around, so you don't need any special equipment or tripods or anything to shoot even after dark. And of course, the public transport is one really good source for street photos always, regardless of your location. It has to be a big city, of course. You just have to be brave enough to pull out your camera on a crowded, jam-packed metro train, or maybe the ticket line, or any crowded location, crowded place, and sometimes you can capture some really interesting photos. And trust me, people usually don't notice whether you're taking photos or not. They don't notice your camera. They are occupied, they are minding their own business, and they are buying tickets or playing games on their phone or whatever. You just have to be brave enough and believe yourself and start shooting. camera settings on both of these Ricoh cameras were the same as I always use. In bright daylight it's P mode, and when the darkness arrives I move to the shutter priority. I select my shutter speed manually depending on what I'm shooting. If I want some motion blur, I use, of course, a longer shutter speed, but if I want to freeze action, I use shorter shutter speed, and then I'll let the camera decide on the aperture and ISO speed. Very simple and effective, and it works every time. And the raw files from these tiny cameras are surprisingly flexible, even at higher ISO values like 1600, 3200 or even higher. I have never any trouble getting the results I want in Lightroom or Photolab 6. And I'm really happy with the pictures that I got on my first full day here in Bangkok, Thailand. I don't usually get very good results on my first day in a new location, but this time it seemed to work out and I was kind of on a roll right from the start. And I can't wait to shoot more here, and I can't wait to share my photos and my experiences here in Bangkok, Thailand in some of my future videos, because I'm gonna stay here for a few weeks. And I already have some ideas and photos in my mind that I want to do here in Bangkok, and you will definitely see and hear more from Bangkok in my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this entertaining or somehow useful, please consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link down below if you don't live in Finland. Thanks once more, and I'll see you in the next one.